हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा। So happy to be there amongst all of you. Let's chant the prayers and then get going. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, can you all see my slides? Is it visible?
Yes प्रभु जी।
Okay, so as earlier we had decided, we will have chapter 15 Purushottam Yoga on Friday, Saturday, today and tomorrow, and we will have quiz on Sunday. Okay, so we have had some discussion. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to recap what we have done. We will straight away go into the verses and the translation. You can chant the words after me, and then we will see today's session. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham Aswatham Prahurabhyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved Adhaschordhvam Prasrutastasya Sakha Guna Prabruddha Vishaya Pravalaha Adhascha Mulani Anusantatani Karmanubandhini Manusya Loke Narupamasyeha Tathopalabhyate Nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha Aswathamenam subirudhamulam Asanga sastrena dridhena chitva Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyah Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye Yatah prabhriti prashrita purani. Sorry. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosa Adhyatma nitya vinibratta kamaha Dvandver vimukta sukha dukkha samyer Gachanti amudha padam avyayamta Natad bhasayate suryo Nasasanko napavakaha Yadgatva na nivartante Tadhama paramam mama ममैवांसो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यद् अवाप्नोति यच्चापि उत्क्रमात्तीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायोर्गन्धानि वासयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं ग्रहणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषा यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितम् यतन्तोऽपि अकृतमानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलम् यच्चन्द्रमांसि यश्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम् गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयामि अहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधम् सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम् द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च अक्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेति उदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्ति अव्यय ईश्वरः यस्मात्क्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवम् असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमम् स सर्वविद् भजति माम् सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघः एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत. Let's read the translation quickly. Anybody wants to start?
This Lord said, there is a banyan tree that is roots upward and its branches down. The trees are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
The branches of this tree extend down guiding. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek the place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything has begun and in whom everything is abiding since time immemorial.
Yeah, anybody online? The three of the devotees here have brand.
One who is free from illusion, false prestige, and false association, who understands the eternal, who is done with material lust, and is freed from the duality of happiness and distress, and who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attains to that eternal kingdom.
Okay. Yes, quickly. Somebody else?
That abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world.
Okay.
The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, and nose and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can fit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in the knowledge can see all this.
The endeavoring transcendentalist who is situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
I am the fire of digestion in every living body, and I am the air of life, outgoing and incoming, by which I digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
Gyanji? You have to read the translation, the one that you're seeing on the screen, the first one.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible.
Beside these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord Himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them.
Anybody who's not spoken?
Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person.
Verses. Vibhu, Pratima ji, no, was
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharata.
Okay, this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So the last few days of Purushottam Mass, and we are reading this Purushottam Yoga. We have discussed the first 4 verses of this. Now we have a lot to cover, but I just want to bring your attention to one very interesting verse. Where is that? Okay, let's just focus on the 20th verse. 20th verse, it says, Iti Guishatamam Sastram, Idam Uktam Maya Nagaha, Etad Buddhva Buddhiman Syat, Kritakrityascha Bharata. If you will see the use of Sanskrit word here, it is mentioned as Gushyatamam. You see, if I highlight that word, Gushyatamam. Iti Gushyatamam Sastram idam uktam maya nagaha etad buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. So in Sanskrit, there are 3 kinds of adjectives. Gusha, Gushyatara, and Gushyatamam. So there is positive affirmation, then there is comparative, and then there is superlative. So Krishna is telling, Iti Gushyatamam Sastram idam uktam maya nagaha etam buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. And we just saw the translation. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one. And it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. It's a very interesting verse, and the whole chapter is very, very nice, very beautiful chapter. So much of depth and so much of profoundness is mentioned in this chapter. Is just amazing. If we just slow down and just read this chapter, we can benefit immensely. The secret to come out of this material world is given. The secret to get entangled in this material world is given. The secret why we are here and struggling is given. Probably you can find the entire solution, the problem definition as well as the solution. Very interestingly, I want all of you to pay attention to this 20th verse purport. Very significantly, Prabhupada talks about something called weakness of heart. And it's a very important thing because the Acharya of this worldwide movement is saying that pay attention to this weakness of heart. And in the purport he's mentioning, let's see what Prabhupada is saying about this and try to understand how this is such a crucial and critical thing. Towards the last part of the purport of 15th chapter, 20th verse, if you read and if you have read, it's amazing. Prabhupada mentions the most important thing one has to surmount, so one has to overcome. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of the heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. Thus one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. And the second weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, he becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart. And the rest of this chapter, from the 6th verse through the end, discusses Purushottama Yoga. Very powerful thing, very beautiful thing. Actually, the whole chapter talks about what Prabhupada is trying to sum up in the last paragraph towards the end of this last verse of 15th chapter, in the 20th verse. So he's telling, first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. And the result of that is one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. That's the first fall down, the desire to lord it over. If you remember that inverted banyan tree that we saw in the last few classes, where the reflection is there, because there is no other trees, where you can find the roots are going upwards and the branches are going downwards. It's the reflection. That's what Prabhupada explains. And the reflection is existing because there is a water body, and the water body is compared with desire. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. That's the first fall down. Thus one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, he becomes attached to matter and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. In this chapter, the first 5 verses is talking about that. So it's a very important thing to know what is exactly the weakness of heart, which all of us have, which every living entity who's conditioned, who's there in this material world is possessing, and how to come out of this. What we will do today, the time that we have, we will try to cover till 10th verse, the half of this chapter, and the remaining 10th verse, the remaining 10 verses we will see from 11 to 20 tomorrow, and we will have a quiz on Sunday. As I say, please read this chapter. This is one of the very beautiful chapter where, you've got probably, it's an end to end, from beginning to end, everything is given in this. I'm not going into the first few verses that we had discussed at length, but the important instruction in that was asanga sastrena dridhena chitva. This samsara, or this material world, which is compared with the inverted banyan tree, and where we are all stuck and we are either going upwards or downwards because of guna prabruddha and vishaya pravala. Guna prabruddha means being completely influenced, coming under the sway of these 3 modes of material nature. We are acting. We are acting the way we are, we're just as if, we are dictated to work in a particular way. So guna prabruddha, and that guna prabruddha, when we are influenced, when we are under the control of this modes of material nature, we are acting helplessly. And there is vishaya pravalaha, and there are unlimited material desires, which is extending, elongating our material existence in this material world, in this inverted banyan tree. That is why, so to understand this deep prasruttas, Krishna says in the 2nd verse, that, the branches are, it's just too many. They are just, spreading all over. And that is why dridhena sastrena, asanga sastrena, dridhena chitva. Asanga sastrena, the weapon of detachment, and how it should be dridha. One has to be very, very fixed. And that fixed thing we discussed in the previous classes is to have this understanding, I'm spirit, soul, I've got nothing to do with this material body, I've got nothing to do with this material world. Being fixed in that. Dridhena chitva. And as I said, it cannot be uprooted. It has to be cut. These are things which we have seen. Today, one of the most important verses of Bhagavad Gita we will discuss. And okay, maybe, I'll come to this chapter summary towards the end. We will discuss about this chapter summary towards the end. Let's go by verse and see some of the very profound verses often quoted by Prabhupada. One of the most important verses of Bhagavad Gita, which is there in this chapter. We will see them. I'm sure all of you who have come here, you've gone to a visa office. There won't be a single person who will be an exception to that, who will say, I've never been to a visa office and I've directly landed here in the US. So if you have been there, I just want to refresh your memory. When you go to a visa office, this is Chennai consulate office, and probably you're made to stand like this, and you can see everybody is anxious and they're holding some folder or files which has got lots of documents which they want to present when their turn comes and somebody is guiding them. Like this visa office, where you want to get your visa sanctioned, you need to carry all your documents. This verse of Bhagavad Gita, the 5th verse, Krishna says what all you need to do if you want to go to spiritual world. So he gives certain, you have to tick them all, certain prerequisites. If you do all of these things, then you get entry to spiritual world. It's not a joke to go into spiritual world and to be there with Krishna, with all our anarthas, with all our unwanted things. If we think we can go we are in some kind of illusion, because even to come to a country like US, we have to go through such a stringent, difficult process of gathering all the documents, making sure everything is ready, it is proper, and then we present it to the consulate, and they, it is based on their mercy. If they feel everything is fine, they grant visa. So what are those things which Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? Very, very interesting. Okay, sorry about this. But this verse is the 5th verse of Bhagavad Gita. If you have a book of Bhagavad Gita, I would strongly recommend, you open it and you see it along with the presentation. The verse goes, Nirmana Moha, Jitasanga Dosa, Adhyatma Nitya, Vinivratta Kamaha, Dvandvair Vimuktaha, Sukha Dukha Samgyer, Amudha Tad Abhyayam Padam Gachanti. It's not in that order exactly. Gachanti Amudha Padam Abhyayanti. Padam Abhyayam Tat. Okay. Now, very interestingly, each of these words are significant. Each of the words are worth paying attention. That is why I had to break it down in whichever way, even if it is not very proper, but just try to understand what Krishna is telling. You see, he has used a word called Amudha. Right? You can see I'm just doing something marking on the slides. Amudha. Mudha, if you see the word Mudha, means a foolish person. Foolish person is someone who is a Mudha, we will see. That is also given in Bhagavad Gita in various places. But a Mudha is a person who thinks that this material world is my only destination. This is where I have to make permanent arrangement. I have to live here in this body with my relatives eternally, as long as I can. He's a Mudha. Amudha, tad avyayam padam gachanti. So amudha is a plural. And gachanti, you can see gachati, gachataha, gachanti. Gachanti is plural. So in in any language, we have a verb and a subject. They necessarily have to, you can't say they eats or he eat, right? So he eats or they eat. So it is amudha because it's a plural, gachanti. Amudha, who are not foolish, who are intelligent, who are not bewildered, those people, tad avyayam padam gachanti, they go to the supreme abode, tad avyayam, which is imperishable, indestructible. This entire material world, bhrutva bhrutva praliyate. Even if we go to the Brahmaloka, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartinascha Arjuna. Even if we go to the Brahmaloka, where the so-called material enjoyment is at its peak, at its epitome, still we have to come down when our pious credit gets over. So, but there is a spiritual world which is mentioned in the 4th verse, and in this verse again Krishna is telling, Amudha tad avyayam padam gachanti. An intelligent person he reaches there. Tad avyayam padam gachanti. He goes there to that tad avyayam padam, that loka or that abode of the Lord, which is imperishable, which doesn't, get destroyed when there is a complete annihilation. But to reach there, like I said, like visa office you are going, your destination instead of America is, in this time it is spiritual abode, the abode of the Lord. And if one has to reach there, then there are 5 things which Krishna mentions in this. What are those 5 things? Nirmana moha. First thing is nirmana moha. So if you see the mana moha, mana is false prestige. The word ni, when it is applied before that, this word ni means completely giving up. Completely giving up 2 things it is mentioned. First thing Krishna is telling, mana and moha. Mana, nirmana moha. Mana is false prestige. To expect honor, to expect people should respect me. So that has to be given up. Why that has to be given up? Because we are actually very tiny. We are spirit, soul, part and parcel of the Lord. Krishna will talk about that. So beautiful verse and so clear to understand who we are and how we are getting bewildered in thinking this material world to be our end all and be all, and so attached to this. The root cause of our attachment to this material world is our false ego. So he's telling nirmana moha. Get rid of all this mana. Mana is this false prestige that people should honor me, respect me. That false prestige is one of the root cause of our material existence. It elongates. There is a place where Prabhupada mentions in one of the purports that this aham and mama, aham mameti, these two things are the root cause of all our anarthas. Aham, I'm thinking this is my body, and mama, and I'm thinking all these things to be mine. This material world, whatever I have got, these are all, I am this body, and these are all mine. This is my father, this is my mother, this is my children, this is my brother, this is my sister, this is my husband, this is my wife. I'm thinking this to be my permanent this thing. And with that two concept, deep rooted, I'm thinking this material world is my permanent place. Aham mameti. So Krishna is telling, get rid of this mana, false prestige, and moha. Moha is illusion. Illusion is Brahma. Brahma means, not being able to perceive what is right, what is wrong. Thinking the thing which are temporary to be permanent and things which are permanent to be temporary. That is moha. Moha is beautifully described in various places in the scriptures. We will see some of the references. So Nirmana Moha. Okay, let me show some of the references where Krishna talks about these two things especially. One, in 3rd chapter, 27 verse, Krishna says, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. If you see this verse, I'm using a little bit of Sanskrit, bear with me, because this is worth understanding this, going a little deeper, because our appreciation for the verse goes up and our understanding becomes clear. So here the word used by Krishna is ahankara, and if you see vimudhatma. Because of this false ego, one becomes vimudha. Visesha rupena mudha. Not just mudha, not just foolish, but vimudha atma. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. I am considering myself to be the doer. Because of the influence of this prakrite kriyamanani, gunai karmani sarvasa. Because of this influence of the 3 modes of material nature, and this entire thing is being done by material nature, but I am considering that I am the doer because of ahankara. Because of ahankara, I am becoming vimudhatma, and I am thinking that kartaham iti manyate. If you see in 13th chapter also, Krishna mentions, this is some of the qualities that he mentions, these are the items of knowledge. And the first thing is amanitvam, become free from this brahma, mana, amanitvam, amanitvam. Actually, it is translated by Prabhupada as humility, and there's a beautiful description, definition which is given by Prabhupada. If you see the purport, humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. And we were having the discussion on the Sikshastakam verse where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Amanitvam adam, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So such powerful thing is available to us in the form of kirtaniya sadahari, but it requires Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena. Otherwise, you see, to develop an attraction for Krishna, to develop an attraction for reading these instructions, the scriptures, or to be engaged in devotional service, it doesn't come. No matter how much we hear, no matter how much we try, it doesn't come. So then we have to go to the root. How I can get that? Krishna says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna. If I think I am the knower of everything, I have got all the knowledge, all the intelligence, I don't care about anything. Who are you? And I start seeing some thousands of faults. I can never get to, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Yesterday also we were hearing Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, how such an important thing, he never used to find any faults with Vaishnavas, with anybody. So these are all very, very important things if we really want to, to be engaged and to be able to relish this devotional service. You see, sometimes, this is a mundane material example, but very easy to understand. Let's say there is a movie which is released, and the movie sometimes can become a hit movie or can become a flop movie. Movie is released, and the actors and the directors and all the technicians, they put in their hard work, everything is done, but still the movie can be a hit or a flop. So sometimes our devotional life also can be a hit, can be a flop. People come, ayaram, gayaram. Somebody comes, somebody goes, somebody does something, gets away. There is no this thing of that, because people are not able to relish it. It's a flop thing. They are not able to. It appears like, what am I doing? I'm still not able to relish it. The relishing comes if we understand the principles well and apply them in our life. So, Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, and he says that this should be put in somebody's neck, and remember this always. So here the first thing which Krishna says is Nirmana Moha. 2 things we have to get rid of. So all these 5 things are very important, and one needs to see oneself, not see others. How am I doing with respect to each of this? If I have got any of this, then I will not get entry into the spiritual world. Nirmana Moha, free from illusion, free from false prestige. Then he says Jita Sangha Dosha. Jita Dosha. Dosa is all this anarthas, all these unwanted things which come because of association with material things. One has to conquer over this. Jita Sangha Dosa. Because of the attachment, because of the association with this material world, with this material nature, we develop all kinds of unwanted things in our life, all kinds of things which look so important to us in our life. Jita, one has to become victorious, conquer over this. Jita Sangha Dosa. It is also very beautifully explained in Bhagavad Gita in various places. Wonderful descriptions are given. First, it is given in this wonderful example of Krishna. Actually, all the examples which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, they are really hard hitting, because this example is not coming from any ordinary mundane people, conditioned people who are seeing with a conditioned vision. This is the Supreme Lord giving example. Here, one such example, analogy is given. Padma Patram Ibhambhasa, Brahmani Adhaya Karmani, Brahmani Adhaya, who is doing all his activity depending upon the Supreme Lord. Brahmani Adhaya, being completely absorbed, immersed in Brahmani. Brahmani Adhaya Karmani, Sangam Tyaktva Karotiha. The word that comes here is Sangam Tyaktva, giving up all this material association. Sangam Tyaktva Karotiha, Lipyate Nasapapena Padma Patram Ibhambhasa. One of the very unique characteristic of Padma Patra, the lotus leaf, is if you put any water on this, the water doesn't stay, it doesn't stick. It is not like some kind of cotton or some kind of sponge where you put it in water, it just soaks, absorbs everything. Quite contrary to that is Padma Patra, lotus leaf, where the water doesn't stick to the surface, it totters. That is why that song that we sing, Bhajahure Mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare, Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange, Jivana Talamala. Jivana Talamala, in that line, Kamala Dalavala, Jivana Talamala. So, like that lotus leaf, there is a water drop which is tottering because it is never attached, it is never stuck to that. Similarly, our life is also like that. Any moment it can go, any moment it is, it can go any direction, it is over, it will come to an end. So, here the important thing is Sangam Tyaktva Karotiyaha, Brahmani Adhaya Karmani, Sangam Tyaktva Karotiyaha. Lipyate nasapapena, like the lotus is never entangled in that mud or the muddy area where it is growing. Lipyate nasapapena Padma Patra Ibhambhasa, like the lotus leaf which is untouched by the water, even if it is there in the surface of the water. This is one place where Krishna says about this. And there's another place which we were discussing a few days back when we were talking about the solution to anxiety, where Krishna is telling Mat Karma Krin, Mat Paramo, Mad Bhakta Sangha Varjitaha, Nirvairaha Sarva Bhuteshu, Yas Samamayiti Pandavaha. So the second line, if you see, Mad Bhakta Sangha Varjitaha, freed from the contamination of fruitive activities. Sangha Varjitaha. Jita Sangha Dosa, again the same thing. Krishna is telling Sangha Varjita, get rid of, give up this material association. It is not going to give us any benefit. Mad Bhakta Sangha Varjitaha, Nirvairaha Sarva Bhuteshu, Yasamamiti Pandavaha. These are some of the examples of the second thing. So first is Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosa. Ne is to get rid of Mana and Moha. Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosa. Then Adhyatma Nitya. So Jita Sangha Dosa, another example which Prabhupada gives is that of a coconut. like a coconut, which is, when it is not dried up, it is thickly associated with this. If you can see my cursor, it is too deeply attached to this material world. But when it is practicing this devotional service and seeing and following the injunctions of the scriptures, then even if it is there in the material world, it is completely detached. Padma Patram Vibham Vasa. The third one, which Krishna says, is Adhyatma Nitya. Adhyatma Nitya is a very important word which Krishna uses to be always absorbed in Adhyatma, in the spiritual thing, spirituality. A material person always thinks, what is mine? What all things I can have? I don't have this, let me have this. I don't have a nice job, let me get a job. I don't have a good car, let me get a good car. I don't have a wife, let me get a wife. I don't have children, let me get children. This is all the material person thinks. A spiritual person who's absorbed in Adhyatma, he's thinking, who am I? Who am I? His question, the most important question which he keeps pondering over is, who am I and why am I here? So Krishna also says this in various places. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhecha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu adhyatma nitya. So tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhecha. All times, everywhere, remember me. While doing your work, which is prescribed duty, which is fighting. While fighting also, remember me. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhecha. Or in the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, he says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Satata yuktanam. Tesham satata yuktanam. So again, Adhyatma Nitya. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. I always talk about that AAA formula, right? The first is activity, the second is absorption, and third is alertness. So what am I absorbed with? What is the thing that keeps me absorbed? I may do a lot of things, but what is my absorption? So absorption for a spiritualist, Adhyatma Nitya. He should be absorbed in the spiritual topics. Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. And in 9.14 again Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhabrataha. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto nitya yukta upasate. Always constantly chanting. So we spoke about Nirmana Moha. I'm spending more time on this because this is a very important verse. Actually, this chapter is filled with all very, very powerful verses. And if we understand them, then our the whole concept, the whole existence becomes, is a different existence. So here he's telling Nirmana Moha, Jita Sangha Dosa, Adhyatma Nitya, Vinivritta Kama. The next one which he says, Krishna says. But before we go there, there is a beautiful example of Adhyatma Nitya from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this example is given of that of the gopis. And this is from the 10th canto. Beautiful verse. So this verse goes like this. Ya dohane bahanane mathano pelepa prinkhena khanarbha ruditokshana marjanado gayanti chainama anurakta dhiyo ashrukantayo dhanya brajastriya urukrama chittayanaha. This verse talks about gopis. Mind you, gopis are there in Vrindavan. It's a village setting, and this verse talks about what these gopis were doing. Ya dohane. Dohane is milking the cows. Ya dohane. Abahanane. Abahanane is it's mentioned as threshing. I'll just tell you what is that. Abadohanane is actually churning butter. No, sorry, winnowing the grain. It's like, you take out all this, the grain will have some covering or something that you take out. Maybe, from the groundnuts, those things take out, or from the grains taking out of those things. Ya dohane, abahanane, mathano upalepa. Or mathana. Mathana is to churn the butter. Mathana upalepa. Upalepa is to smear. You're putting some, they were putting this cow dung, and they were painting they were smearing the house, the walls. So, ya dohane, avahanane, mathano, upalepe. Then, prenkha, Inkhana, it is swinging. While swinging, or making their children swing, whatever they were doing, swinging, or arbharudita, where the babies were crying, they were attending to that. Marjana, ado, marjana is to cleanse the temple or cleaning that thing. Ado, so all these activities, if you see, there's a plethora of activities this gopis were doing, and it is a village setting that they don't have choice; they have to do all these things. But the important thing is gayanti chainam anurakta dhiyo Ashrukantayo, Gayanti cha enam anurakta dhiyo. Gayanti, they were singing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Gayanti chainam, how? Anurakta dhiyo. The intelligence is completely soaked in that. Even if they were doing all these material activities. Anurakta dhiyo, Ashrukantayo. The kantha, the throat was choked and there were tears in their eyes. Gayanti chainam anurakta dhiyo, Ashrukantayo. Dhanya, Brajastriya, Urukrama Chittayana. Dhanya, they are all glorious. Dhanya, Brajastriya, Urukrama Chittayana. Urukrama is Lord Krishna. Chittayana, whose consciousness was absorbed in Urukrama Chitta. The ladies of Braja are the most fortunate of women because with their minds fully attached to Krishna and their throats always choked up with tears, they constantly sing about him while milking the cows, winnowing grain, churning butter, gathering cow dung for fuel, riding on swings, taking care of their crying babies, sprinkling the ground with water, cleaning their houses, and so on. By their exalted Krishna consciousness, they automatically acquire all desirable things. So this is called Adhyatma Nitya, the third one which Krishna says. Then there is Vinivritta Kamaha. And if I have it, no, I'll go on to the next one. Okay, Vinivritta Kamaha is another very powerful thing. Vinivritta Kamaha. So Vinivritta Kamaha, if you see, the word is Kamaha. And Nivritta Kama is to get rid of this Kama. And Vinivritta is completely giving up this Kamaha. You see, when Arjuna was asking the question about Sthita Prajna in second chapter, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasa samadhistasya keshava sthitadhir kim prabhaseta kim asita brajeta kim. He was asking to know more about Sthita Prajna. How do I recognize? What are their symptoms? How do they sit? How do they walk? How do they control their senses? First thing which Krishna says, first, prajahati yada kama. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partho manogatan. Atmani evatmana tushtaha sthita prajnasya tadochyate. You see, I'm drawing something here, right? So this is actually our Atma, or this is what we are, the spirit soul. There is a covering of subtle body, which is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Right, the subtle body, we know all about subtle body. Then there is this gross body, which is made up of the 5 gross elements. Right, so this verse, prajahati yada kaman. Kaman, actually this desires. Why Vinivritta Kama is required or is important? Because this Kama is not coming out of Atma. This is coming out of the mind. So Kama is produced, if you see that verse 2.54, prajahati yada kaman sarvan partho manogatan. Prajahati, you give up all these desires. Which desire? Is there any limitation, or is there anything that, there is some consideration? No. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan. Sarvan kaman prajahati. Give it up. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partho manogatan. This is produced from the mind. Since this is produced from the mind, and no matter whoever is there in this material world who has tried hard to satisfy the desires, still has remained unsatisfied. Doesn't matter how much you are trying to satisfy this desire, that desire. Let me fulfill. There is a desire. This is coming. Let me fulfill. Once I fulfill this desire, I'll be happy. I'll be satisfied. No, it burns with even greater vigor. There is a verse in Bhagavatam, 9th canto. I don't have it right now. It says that it is like putting fire and putting ghee into fire and expecting the fire to get extinguished. May get extinguished for some time, but then again it burns with more intensity and with a larger intensity. So sarvan prajahati yada kaman sarvan partho manogatan. Krishna says, this is the beginning of 2nd chapter. that, give up all these desires which are coming out of your mind. Sarvan partho manogatan. Atmani evatmana tushta sthita pragyasya tadochyate. Not just this one. Again in 3rd chapter, Krishna says, Kamaesha krodhaesha rajoguna samudbhava mahasano mahapapma vidhyenam yavairinam. This is our eternal enemy, this kama, this lust, this desires to enjoy. Kamaesha krodhaesha rajoguna samudbhava, born out of the material modes of passion. Kamaesha krodhaesha rajoguna samudbhava mahasano mahapapma vidhyenam yavairinam. Know for sure, vidhyenam yavairinam. This is our eternal enemy. Give it up. Or in 16th chapter, where Krishna says that tasmadetat trayam tyajet. These are the 3 doorways to hell. What is that verse? How does it start? Anybody knows? Trividham narakasyedam dwaram nasanam atmanah kamah krodhas tatha lobhas tasmadetam trayat tyajet. So in 16.21, Krishna says, give it up. So binivritta kamaha, this is the 4th thing. So nirmana moha jitasanga dosa adhyatma nitya binivritta kamaha dvandvair vimuktaha sukadukha samgir amurha tad avyayam padam gachanti dvandvair vimuktaha sukadukha samgir. In 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 14th verse, Krishna says, matra sparsastu konteya sitoshna sukha dukha daha agama apayino anityastam stitikshasva bharata. So this material world, we are subject to the different kinds of dualities. Sukha, dukkha. Sometimes there is happiness, sometimes there is things which happens in our life which are unpleasant, which are unpalatable. Sukha, dukkha, or sita, ushna. There are so many, mana, apamana. These things keep coming as long as we have accepted a material body. That is why Krishna says, dvandvair vimuktaha. Get freed of these dualities. Material world means dualities. Dualities means like a coin which has got 2 sides. There is a head and there is a tail part. Similarly, material world means there is sukha and dukkha. There is some kind of happiness. There is also distress and misery, inseparable. Sukha, dukkha, or insult and praise. Mana, apamana, sita, dukkha, sita, ushna. So all these things Krishna says there that just to tolerate. Matra sparsastu konteya sitoshna sukha dukkha daha agama apayina nityastam titikshasva bharata. Titikshasva is just to tolerate. Here he is telling dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha samgir. Samgir is to jnana, who has got the knowledge of what is sukha dukkha and who understands the dvandvair, the duality of this, and is free. Dvandvair vimuktair sukha dukkha samgir. Amurha tad avyayam padam gachanti. So this is the verse, it's a very important verse, which anyway we spoke for a little longer than necessary. But then it's important. Then let me just quickly go to the other verse to show you some very interesting thing before I finish today's section. Yeah. So then Krishna says, so having spoken about the 5th verse, which we just saw, it is talking about what all you need to get entry to the spiritual world. If somebody is asking, am I, sometimes people ask, Prabhu, how do I know whether I'm making progress in devotional life or not? See all these things. Nirmana moha, jitasanga dosa, adhyatma nitya, vinivritta kama, dvandvair vimuktaha, sukha dukkha samgir. If all these things are tick, 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 then I'm making progress towards that. I'm making to get entry into the spiritual world. But what is that spiritual world? Sometimes, we hear about different tourism department, there's tourism of Kerala, there's tourism of West Bengal, tourism of Gujarat, and they promote their state that these are the attractive places here. You can come here. This is the advertisement by Krishna about the spiritual world. What is that spiritual world all about? Natad bhasayate suryo na sasanko nupavakaha yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Very interesting verse and very powerful verse again, and this worth paying attention. So one word which is used here by Krishna is called Tadhama Paramam Mama. That abode, that is my supreme abode, Paramam Mama. So Amudha and Mudha, this is the difference, or Vimudha, whatever Krishna uses. Amudha thinks that this material world, which is anyway described by Krishna as Dukhalayam Asaswatam, to be his permanent abode, to live here. But a person who is, Amudha, I don't know if I use the, I hope you get the thing. The Mudha, they use that, this material world as permanent place. Amudha, who's not bewildered, who's not a foolish person, he knows Tad Dhama Paramam Mama. And what kind of Dhama is that? Na tad bhasayate suryo. You don't need a sunshine. You don't need a sun there to illuminate, or to give light. Na sasanko. You don't need a moon. Na pavaka. No fire. You don't need sun. You don't need fire. You don't need a moon. You don't need any of this, because it is illumined by the effulgence of the Lord. And all the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Loka, the 400 people, they are also bright and effulgent. You don't need any of these things. That is why this is called, the Vedic literature, we say, Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, mrityor ma amrutam gamaya. What is the first line? Tamaso. Tamaso is, this place is called Tamaha. This is full of darkness, darkness of ignorance. Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya. Go to the place which is illumined, to the place of illumination. So that abode is not tad bhasayate suryo na sasanka na pavaka. Imagine a world which doesn't require any external source of illumination like sun, moon, or electricity, or fire. Whatever Prabhupada uses electricity also. And important thing is yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. This is a one-way ticket. Once you go there, there is no more coming back to this filthy material world where we are stuck and we are struggling. Na tad bhasayate suryo na sasanka na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That abode of mine is actually paramam. That is the ultimate destination. Come back. What are you doing? Actually, all these verses are spoken by Krishna. Krishna is only continuing. This is not spoken by Arjuna. And he is giving an advertisement of his own abode, that this is what it is. Next verse, one of the most powerful verses of Bhagavad Gita. And very, very important to understand this actually. If given time, I would have, just gone on with, this one verse. If one understands this, his life will be so blissful, so powerful, this verse. You see, I don't have the slides for this, but I'm writing here. Please pay attention to this. If you see the verse, Krishna is saying, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke. We'll go little slow on this because it's very important verse. 8th verse, I've got some. Actually, all these verses are so powerful that, you just can't ignore any of them. Okay, let's see this verse. If you see the first line, Krishna is telling Mama. Then there is a word called Eva. And there is Amsa. Mama Eva Amsaha Jiva Loke. Jiva Bhutaha Sanatanaha. Mana Shasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karsati. If one gets this verse clearly, and if you read the purport, I strongly recommend and urge, read the purports, 20 verses, read these verses, read these purports. It's very, very powerful, very, very beautiful. Krishna is telling about Jiva Bhuta. Okay? Jiva Bhuta are all of us. All of us are Jiva Bhuta. So Jiva Bhuta is a plural. Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Mana Shasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karsati. So Krishna is telling all these Jiva Bhutaha, they are actually Mama Eva Amsaha. Mama, mine. Mama, the first word is Mama, mine. Eva, only mine, not somebody else. Nobody else can claim, okay, maybe you are Krishna's part and parcel, also you are my part. No. Mama Eva, the words like this word, Eva, Mama, these are all very powerful things. Krishna is telling Mama Eva Amsaha. Amsaha, we say sometimes a child who's born from a mother, the baby, is the Amsa. It's part of the mother's body. It's coming out of the mother's body, so it is Amsa. Or this finger of mine is actually part of my body. This hand is part of my body. And this, because I am an Amsa, the natural thing for an Amsa is to serve the Amsi, from whose it is part. If I am part of Krishna, I should serve Krishna, like the hand which is serving the body, like the fingers which is meant to serve the body. So Mama Eva Amsaha, Jiva Loka, Mama Eva Amsaha, Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Actually, each of this word is important, as I was saying. You see, the word is Sanatanaha. We are eternally part and parcel of the Lord. Eternally. What it means is, our existence never ceases. Even right now, we are all individual. We don't merge. Something happens, you don't hear a news somewhere, it is coming, two people have merged now. They become one. They got married, they were in love, and they became one. No. Sanatana, eternally we are existing. After our death also, we continue to remain eternal, individual. There is one school of thought, or famous Mayavadi school of thought, where they say when the river merges with the water, the river becomes water. The river becomes the sea, the ocean, and it loses its existence. True, the river, when it merges with the ocean, it becomes ocean. It becomes part of the ocean. But the river particles, the molecules of river still remain inside the ocean. They don't merge in that water. Their identity is still there. So Krishna is telling, Mama eva amsa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. You see, the word used here is jiva loke. Right? There are two words. One is called Krishna Loka, where it is Krishna's abode, and one is called Jiva Loka. I may be, living in America, somebody may be living in India, somebody may be living in Australia, somebody may be living in some other part. But every part, all these things are actually part of Jiva Loka. So, Mama Eva Amsa, we are all eternally part and parcel of the Lord, and we are Sanatana. Mama Eva Amsa, Sanatana. Jiva Bhuta, we are all Jiva Bhuta. Actually, the word Jiva Bhuta is used in 7th chapter when you see Yayadam Dharayat Jagat, after telling that verse Bhumirapo Nalavayu Kham Manobuddhire Evacha Ahankara Ityam Bhinna Prakriti Rashtada. After talking about the 8 separated energies of the Lord, he talks about Jiva Bhuta, which is also energy of the Lord, and it is Yayadam Dharayat Jagat, which is holding this material world. So this Jiva Bhuta, which is all of us, are actually the Tatastha Sakti, like the marginal energy. It has a free will to come in touch with the seawater, or it can remain on the sand, like Tatastha. It is going on the shore. So like that, sometimes we come in contact with the internal energy of the Lord, and we are trying to serve Him. Sometimes we come under the influence of the external energy of the Lord. That's where we become independent. And the reason, and when we do that, the next 2 lines says, Mana Shashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsati. The word Karsati is also there in Krishna, right? The Krishna word also Akarshan, to attract. So Mana Shashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsati. And I want to show you one photo. Let me see if I have help. Okay. You see this picture. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Indriyanam Manaschasmi. So here it is mentioned, the verse that we were seeing, Mana Shashthani Indriyani. Shashthani means 6. Mana Shashthani Indriyani. There are 5 senses, all of us we know. Smell, touch, taste, vision, and hearing. But there is a 6th one, Krishna is telling, Mana Shashthani Indriyani. And in 10th chapter of Krishna, when he's describing so many things between this and this, amongst this and this, he's telling, Indriyana Manaschasmi. Of the Indriyas, I am Manaha. So Mana is also grouped with these 5 senses to become 6. Mana Shashthani Indriyani. Whatever we are seeing, whatever we are doing, whatever we are perceiving through this Jnanendriya, all these impressions are stored in the mind. So Mana Shashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani. Actually, let's go back to that verse, because that verse is. So if you see, just pay attention. See, Mana Shashthani Indriyani. You see, Shashthani Indriyani and Prakriti Sthani. So they are in the same vibhakti. They're in the similar, if you little bit of Sanskrit, they are in the same same vachana and same what is it? Same case and same agent. Shashthani Indriyani, the 6 senses, 5 senses along with the mind, are part of Prakriti Sthani. Mana is not an eternal thing. Mana Shashthani, these Indriyas are also material thing. So Mana Shashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani, they are all situated in this material nature. Karsati, the Atma, Mamayvamsa Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta, actually the Jiva gets attracted to this Mana Shashthani Indriyani. There is an attraction for the senses, the demands of the senses. And that is why he is remaining in Jiva Loke. Mamevamsa Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Mana Shashtani Indriyani, Prakriti Sthani Karsati. Karsati is a very, very powerful thing. Karsati is, he goes through the struggle for material existence. It's a painful thing. He's searching for happiness by satisfying his senses, by trying to satisfy his desires in the senses. There is a beautiful verse in Niti Sastra. I don't know if you know this verse. This verse is the verse goes something like this. Kuranga matanga patanga bhringa meena hata panchebhireva pancha ekah pramadi sa katham na hanyate ya sevate panchabhiyeva pancha. Kuranga matanga patanga bhringa. I've told this earlier also, but Kuranga is actually the deer. The deer, when it hears the sound of some flute, a sound which a melodious sound produced by the hunter, it becomes standstill, and then the deer shoots the arrow. The hunter shoots the arrow, and the deer gets killed. So Kuranga, Matanga is referring to the elephant. Elephant gets attracted by the touch. When a sea elephant comes and touches the elephant, the male elephant, it gets attracted to go and have the association of that sea elephant, and that is how it gets captured by the Mahant. Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga. Patanga is referring to this moth which we see during Diwali. Now maybe in India you would have started seeing them. They get attracted to this fire by their eyes helplessly. They're getting killed one after another. Still the other moths are getting attracted. Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Bhringa. Bhringa is referring to this bee. The bee has so much of power, it can actually cut and pierce through the wood. But just because by the smell it is getting attracted to the honey in a flower, and it goes and gets stuck there, and the flower closes its petals, and it is found dead in the morning. Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Bhringa, Meena. Meena is the fish which gets captured because it is unable to control the tongue. There is a bait which is put, and it goes for that, and its throat gets completely stuck there. Meena Hata Pancha Bhireva Pancha. These animals which we talked about are getting trapped by the urge of just one sense. But there is one animal, there is one for whom all the five senses are pulling. Ekah pramadi sa katham na hanyate ya sevate panchabhiyeva pancha. What to talk of another person, that is human being, who's pulled by all these five directions? So that is our precarious situation. That is why it is mentioning Mana Shashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsati. Karsati means, one just goes through this endless struggle, this existence. There is so much of problem because Mana Shashtani, we are getting attracted by this Mana Shashtani Indriyani, and we are remaining in this Jiva Loke. So that is what Krishna says in this verse. We'll take one more verse, and I will close here, and we will see if there is any question. This verse I have, okay, let me go here. So the next verse is saying, actually one more question. Okay, I understood what you are saying. How do I know that I continue to remain in this material world, or why am I here in this place? I understood that I'm getting attracted by the senses which are all material. That is why I'm there in Jiva Loke. But how is it getting elongated? Krishna says in this verse, Sariram yad avapnoti yad chapi utkramati shwaraha grihitvaitani samyati vayor gandhan nivasayat. I have broken it down. Actually, if you see this verse, it's a beautiful verse. Yeah. So there is a word called avapnoti and yatchapi utkramati. Etani grihitva samyati. Again, you see the beauty of the analogy which Krishna is giving. See this power, how powerfully this example is given. Vayuhu asayat gandhaniva. Vayur gandhaniva asayat. Imagine there is a beautiful garden, beautiful, extremely fragrant roses and other flowers. And there is a wind which is blowing. The wind is carrying this aroma and going to another place where the flowers are not present. But the wind is able to carry that fragrance along with it. And it comes to another place. Similarly, first time, probably, I don't know, I've not seen any other place. The word Ishwaraha used here is not referring to the Supreme Lord. It is referring to all of us. The controller, the Atma, who has got this body, controller of this body. Ishwaraha yad avapnoti. And that word is very important. That's the reason I'm saying. Ishwaraha yad avapnoti, yad chapi utkramati, etani grihitva samyati. How much we can cover, I don't know. But there are two words which are used. Avapnoti and utkramati. Avapnoti is to give it up. Utkramati is to accept. Did I say correctly? Correct. Reverse? Yeah. Avapnoti is to get and utkramati is to give up. So yad avapnoti and utkramati. We will come to that a little later, but first understand this vayuhu asayat gandhaniva. Like the air is carrying fragrance of a garden to another place, or carrying the filthy aroma of a drain or something to another place. Similarly is a very important thing. Ishwaraha yad avapnoti. Sometimes it is getting the body or it is giving up. Yad chapi utkramati. Etani grahitva samyati. This verse, if you see this photo, if you see this verse. This is there in the Bhagavad Gita in the different plates. You see on the right hand side where, okay, this is my cursor. A baby is born, right? He just is born to someone. He slowly grows, and then it continues to grow on the left side. Don't think that it stops there. It again continues here, becomes old, further old, and then further old, and then one day he dies. So like this person, like the soul who has accepted this body and is going through all this transformation, similarly at the time of death, what happens is the subtle body, the mind, goes to another one. Like the wind is carrying the aroma or the filthy smell from one place to another. Similarly, the Atma takes this subtle body and gets into another body. Or the subtle body takes the Atma and gets into another body. And this process continues. So that is how this Utkramati or Yadavapnoti. And the word used is Samyati. The word Samyati is also used in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 22nd verse. If you see that, Vasansi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya, there is a Samyati Narani there. Vasansi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya, Navani Granati Naroparani, Tatha Sarirani Vihaya Jirnani, Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. So Samyati is referring to goes away. Samyati is actually, you see, the soul is, in this life itself changing different bodies, but the subtle body remains. It goes from this body to another body when the person dies, and it continues. Like the air is carrying aroma. It's a very powerful, hard-hitting example which Krishna gives in this verse. I have a lot to discuss, but I'll just close with this one thought. You see, this is what happens when a person is about to die, right? And probably it's the deathbed, where here in this picture it is just saying one person, but it could be many relatives and friends who have assembled there, who have gathered there. They're all concerned. They're all very, very anxious to know what is the state of this person's health. But interestingly, when this person dies, they've all assembled there and the person dies. What happens after that? That is something very nicely Sankaracharya mentions in Bhaja Govinda in this particular stanza. He's saying, Yavat pavano nivasati dehe, tavat prichati kushalam gehe, gatavati vayu deha paye, bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe. There is a prana vayu. There is a prana vayu which is going on. Hence our this, we are breathing in and we are breathing out. So that is going on. As long as that is going on, yavat pavano nivasati dehe, as long as it is going inside and coming out, tavat prichati kushalam gehe. Till that time, people will ask, oh, how are you doing? How's everything? Gatavati vayu deha paye. When that air has stopped, when a person is dead, bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. First thing, even the wife, he says, get rid of this body. Bibhyati tasmin. I'm scared of this body now. Bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. This is what is our reality. Actually, the translation is, as long as there is breath in the body, so long people in the household ask about one's welfare. Once the breath leaves on the destruction of the body, the dependents dread that very same body. And Krishna, in the subsequent verses, actually goes on to explain how this attachment or attraction becomes strong, what decides, and how do we come out of this. All these things are explained in this chapter. Please read this chapter, beautiful chapter, and how somebody is able to see and how somebody is not able to see. If every one of us is going through that and not able to realize, then what is the point knowing? How do we develop that kind of a vision to see and to remain fixed in that spiritual platform is given in this verse, and he concludes with the three, summary of this Bhagavad Gita that also we will see. Before I end, as I said, that I'll do the summary of this chapter, because if you forget everything else, if you remember this acronym, I think it is still worth all the effort. So the summary of this chapter is home, H-O-M-E. And home is, the first H is standing for home or hotel. Imagine someone checks into their holiday hotel room and then begins painting the walls, buying new furniture, refitting the bathroom, saying that this is not looking good, not attractive, let me have something. It may sound really stupid, but nobody does this kind of arrangements for long-term comfort in a temporary residence. But this world is likened to a hotel room within which people make complicated plans for security and enjoyment. And in this chapter, 15th chapter, Krishna uses a wonderful analogy to create detachment within the spiritualist and fuel his desire to re-enter his home in the spiritual realm. I told that one should be captivated by the information of the spiritual world given. Prabhupada uses that sentence in 15th chapter, 6th verse. One should be captivated. And I feel excited when I hear about something new. Maybe before coming to US, maybe some of us might be very excited. Oh, I'm going to see that. But one should be captivated by that information given in the of the spiritual world. And I had mentioned one of the verses last time is Brahma is regretting that people are not discussing about that in this material world. They're just busy with their own stuff. So the H stands for, like I said, home or hotel, which is the first 5 verses. The O stands for on and on, over and over again. This is from 6th verse to 11th verse, which we were discussing today. We could not finish it. Here, Krishna gives the glimpse of the spiritual world, showing how its nature is perfect, complete, and fully satisfying. And once having gone there, one never returns to this world. And here in the material realm, an individual hops from tree to tree, acquiring various material bodies based on the worldly desires they cultivate throughout the life. At the time of death, through the subtle workings of the reincarnation, one receives body which is tailor-made to facilitate such desires. Man proposes, God disposes. Thus, different life situations are meant to teach us a simple lesson. We are looking for the right thing, happiness, but we are looking in the wrong places. Then we will talk about the M which is standing for maintainer of body, mind, and soul. We will see in these verses how Krishna says that how he is from him, this knowledge, forgetfulness, and the intelligence comes. He also maintains our subtle capacities by this knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And Krishna also maintains our spirituality by offering ways and means to achieve self-realization and escape the dangerous cycle of repeated birth and death. That Krishna also will talk about that, we will see. And the last E stands for the summary of the essence in 3 verses. Previously, Krishna had summarized the Bhagavad Gita in 4 verses. That's called the Chatushloki. And how he again summarizes the teachings in 3 verses. Fallible living entities, Shara, who have dropped into the tree of material existence due to an independent desire to enjoy. And the infallible living entities, Akshara, who never leave the spiritual realm due to their undefeated desire to be with the Lord. Beyond both the entities is the Supreme Lord. Thus, in yet another passage, Krishna reinforces that the living entity never becomes God, since even liberated souls have their separate identity in the spiritual world. This we will see tomorrow. Pay attention, read this chapter, read the verse, read the purports. The more you read and understand and get into this, the more you can appreciate this chapter, this Purushottam Mass. Before I end, I want to show this video, and I'll see if there are any questions. Let me share. So I heard that the sound was not proper at the beginning. Could you hear it, the video?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. Okay, any questions, any thoughts, any comments? It's a, sorry, go ahead. Yes, I see. I'm sorry, go ahead. Remember that you are unmuting yourself.
Yes, Prabhuji. I just wanted to ask you, please share this lecture so that we can hear it again, because we have to prepare for the test also.
Okay, I mean, test is just an excuse so that we read it properly. I mean, don't worry. I mean, but yeah, we should prepare. We never had a test before. So if you read, it'll be nice. We will have an interesting format, even though we are all grown-ups and probably are not attending tests. But it'll be fun. Don't worry.
Is it like Prabhuji objective type questions, or like how it will be?
Disclose the format on that day. No, this thing beforehand. So don't worry. It'll not be too tough, too hard. But I want you to read. I want you to get better at reading this chapter. It's a very beautiful chapter, very interesting chapter. Okay, I know we exceeded the time, so I'll be mindful. We'll start tomorrow at 7:30 sharp. There are some very important verses in this chapter, which is worth paying attention. As I said, these are only 20 verses. Maybe we can continue this afterwards. Each verse is very profound, very deep in this. But tomorrow, what I will do is I will give again an overview of the entire 20th verse and how we will just go slowly how it is built up by Krishna, and then we will pay attention to a few of the important verses, so that in that way we cover the chapter. We have the understanding of it, and then we go deeper into some of the important verses in this chapter. That's what we will do. And don't miss tomorrow's class. And come for Sunday. Don't get scared and bunk Sunday class. And so that will just defeat the whole purpose. Okay. Can I request all of you to come in front of your camera and raise your hands to chant Hare Krishna mantra once? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai,
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai,
Jai Gaur Premanande,
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Not happy today. What?
Hare Krishna.
She was crying, Prabhu. Yeah.
It's nice. 15th chapter you hear, you'll be happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.